You're back. It's still Good Morning, Anambra, and I'm glad you're still seated watching. Now, we'll have to look at this topic of discussion, youth and sustainable development goals. And we have gentlemen who have joined us to look at that. They are Sachuka Nabife. Sachuka Nabife is the MD, CEO, National Light Newspapers. Chuka, you're welcome.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. And then seated very close to him is Chibuna Echewo. Hope I got that name. Yeah. Okay, Chibuna Echewo is the president, National Union of Anambra State Students. Chibuna, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we're talking about the youth and the sustainable development goals. I don't know whether Chuka is still a youth, but he's going to tell us today. Okay, let's move on. We know in September 2015, the General Assembly of the United Nations adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals. They called it SDGs for short. Building on the principle of leaving no one behind, like we say here, Unyaga na Wanneya, which is also the principle of Ndibo. The United Nations new agenda emphasizes a holistic approach to achieving sustainable development for all. It has also mapped out 17 sustainable development goals to drive the agenda. And now we want to look at those one after another. But just before that, I'd like Chuka to throw more light on this topic, which is the youth and the SDGs. Chuka.
First of all, answer the first question you threw as a jibe. Well, I wouldn't know how youthful you think I am, okay, but I know how youthful I am.
All right.
So my youth is actually, as your program defines. But
okay, Chuka, you're a youth.
If you find, I don't think so. I don't think I'm a youth by age.
Yeah.
At 50, I am in my middle ages.
Really?
I hope you get. But then the late sage, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, when he turned, I remember, when he turned 70, and the reporter asked him how old he thinks he is. He said, age is in the mind. And he went to buttress it by picking a wife just some months after. So I'm not going that way. That is the way of the sages. But I am thinking, in my mind, I actually feel I am 16. So you can think. But I don't know why I am discussing, I'm doing a youth thing. But maybe in the wisdom of your program, there could be something youthful about me, and that I feel so glad. I hope you are not envying me. Now I'm going to SDG. The entire concept of the SDG is a step from MDG, Millennium Development Goals.
Yes. And
when in 2013, was it 2012 or 2012-2013 season, the Millennium Development Goals were actually concluded, and we must say give kudos to Anambra State, one of the best performing states in Millennium Development Goals, according to both United Nations and AU. So when the Millennium Development Goals, the set, remember, it is a programmed and periodic thing. So it's a goal with a target. When the target was met, the world moved up to SDG. You understand? The strategic development goals were actually more to step off from the Millennium Development Goals, which were actually tackling things like poverty, water distribution, provision of basics.
A whole lot of them were coming to the provision.
So the strategic development goals is to move the world conveniently away from poverty. You understand? And to move the world towards a generation of change. Remember, we are coming back from the 2 world wars of the last century. And coming with the millennium gap of the new millennium. So the world had to move up. And the strategic development goals is where sustainable, are strategic because they're intended to make nation states and polities move the either generation or their political operations to a way that it will have economic growth. And that is where the youth come to bear now, because it's a conscious realization that youth, if you grow the youth, if you conscientize the youth, if you galvanize them, you will have a better society and a richer society.
Okay, let's hold it there before we get to the provisions. I know that talking about the youth and the sustainable development goals, not too long ago, Not Too Young to Run campaign was launched in Nigeria, and just about fortnight ago, primaries into elective positions in Nigeria were conducted across various political parties. And up to now, we are still counting how many youths that scaled through. And if that is the case, how do we now involve the youths in driving the SDGs? We're coming to you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Let me start by, in every political or economic class, the youths, they have so much role to play, because the youths, they are critical thinkers. Okay, they are change makers. They are innovators, and the youths are communicators. Not only they are leaders. That's why there's no how we do with the SDG without bringing the youths into play, because why? They have a very big critical role to play. You know, the United States, which we have 17 SDG which they've launched, and then 169 targets. And for this to actualize, the youth and has to fully involved.
Do you think that, maybe looking at the MDGs from the angle where San Nabife talked about, do you think that the youth actually played a role to see to the accomplishment of the MDGs and then to this tenor of SDGs? Do you think the youth played a vital role there?
Yes. Now, first of all, you have to look at the people in charge. If they can be able to get duties to the youth can then fully come in and take charge of these things and put it into action.
Okay, let's now start looking at some provisions of the 17 SDGs. Number 1 said no poverty, and the federal government has refused to pay workers living wage. And one we were wondering, how are you going to fight poverty when people are not well paid to take care of their responsibilities, Chuka?
The question is, does wages solve poverty?
It doesn't.
If you think economically, you will find out that wages are actually a stopgap. They don't solve poverty. Poverty is solved. When you go through this entire sustainable development goals, you will now find out that one is not implemented in the absence of the other. There are things that you have to do in collective, and as you are doing it, you begin to see, if you are doing it faithfully, you begin to see it rub off here, rub off here. Wages are actually payments based on the convenience of the economy of the time, because actually what you are doing for 20 naira at Aroma, somebody could actually be doing it for $200 in US. Somebody can actually be doing it for maybe 300 pounds in UK, depending on, because the social coefficients, the entire social equation, the economy of the people. In fact, let me just illustrate it here. We are situated in Oka. You know that the price of a vegetable or the price of a fruit is not the same thing behind Government House as it is in Ekoka. You know that the price of maybe the same fruit is not the same at Main Market Onitsha as it is in maybe Ochanja. There are discrepancies in prices because of the social coefficient, including the kind of people living.
So what are you saying in essence?
What I'm trying to say that
all wages you can
no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. What I'm trying to say is that if you tackle it by only the wages, you will miss the other point. Even if you increase the wage and you don't tackle the other side of the economy, it will swallow no matter the amount that the person earns.
So how do you
Thank
then
very
address?
much. Yeah, how do we do? Does the
That's
I mean,
why
do the
it
youth
is
coming now
sustainable.
to?
That's why it's sustainable. It's to help raise the people out of poverty. First of all, you must have a philosophical change, a concept. You must have a work mentality, and you must have some things you provide in economy. For example, facilities like transportation, housing, road infrastructure. It could actually be medical infrastructure and all the rest. Those are the things that will make even the wage, even if it is increased, it will be meaningful.
Okay.
So looking at from this point of view, do you now see the youths at this center to drive maybe eradicating poverty, which is the first goal? The first goal says no poverty. The second one, zero hunger. How would the youth come into the play to remove or to eradicate poverty?
Okay, now there are different types of poverty. Could be poverty of the mind. Okay, it depends on how the channel you're channeling it to. Now, if that could be solved, the people in charge, which is the government of the day, has to put up a project implementation to be able, when you put up that, it will help and enable the youth to sit into place, and they will to fight poverty in that aspect.
That's human capital development.
Yes. Now, if you talk about poverty of the mind, that is where education has to come in. We that are leaders of various different unions will have to come in, because there's poverty of the mind. If you don't know, you don't know. That is where we now come in to be able to educate the students out there, especially those in tertiary institutions, knowing that when they come out from school, the world is just there looking at them.
So do you think the government has enough policies to address the challenges of developing the young population?
Yes, they do, but the youths also have their own parts to play in that angle.
How do you play the part to want to see how we can bring hunger to zero level in this country, being part of the people that have access to the SDGs? So what is the role of the youth to making sure that there's zero hunger in the society?
Okay, now the role of the youth is them coming together, being able to organize something that they can do in the society. Then that's when government comes in. If it's something like skill acquisition that they need to get into, maybe any angle you can fit yourself. Then if the youth make themselves available, then the state government or federal government can come in and then put that in place, and every other thing will be solved.
Okay.
Nabife, I don't know whether you share the same view, considering that you also have provided some, at least I've been able to view into what you do at National Light and how you empower young people there. Do you also share the
I'm
same
a young
view?
person now.
Okay.
Why would you say that? I empower young? I empower my people, my age mates.
Okay.
I told you I'm 16. Why are you making people think I'm people?
So,
The youngest CEO.
Yes.
You're welcome.
let's look at it from there. Do you think, looking at the people you have on ground, do you think the youth are actually ready to receive what is being given to them?
You are in the best position to appreciate the import of this program by just this question you asked. If you look at what we are doing over there in National Light, you will find out that my approach and my management team's approach, thank God I have people who also share my dream. Our approach is to work on the mind and work on the skills. And then they will be part of the aspiration towards a greater personality. Let me explain something to you. Sustainable development goal. Working on poverty. Look at, you mentioned just out of the 17, you talk about eradicating poverty. And you talk about eradicating hunger. I will ask you, is hunger related to poverty? You are poor because you are hungry.
Or you are hungry because you're
Or
poor.
you are hungry because you are poor. So there's a symbiosis. But when you go on, you see that all of those goals are related. However, you will find out that if your mind, I like to go as basic as our listener, our viewer will know, my people are poor because they are ignorant, because of ignorance. This ignorance is about knowledge. You must first of all have an understanding that the fact that you provide
and that's
food.
what we'll have at number 4 here, which is quality education. Which
Good.
will help you.
So, because if you don't understand that the fact that you provide 3 meals on your table, even if you have them in one hand, they serve the 3 meals you eat in a day, every day. It doesn't mean that you have actually come out of poverty.
Okay.
Because if the people around you don't have food, you are also poor. So the thing is,
let's run because there's so many. We'll have at number 3, we'll have good health and well-being. Then number 4, quality education, which we have emphasized that you need education to be able to assess other things. Then number 5, gender equity.
Equity.
Yes.
Yes. Gender equity. Call it gender balance. Call it
gender mainstreaming, whatever.
Mainstreaming, gender or whatever. All those both the banal and the good. But whatever it is you must understand that all humans are born equal. That is actually the basic of it. And you must also understand that it is mundane when you begin to think that because I am a woman and it's in a woman's circle, males' contribution are null. Or because I'm a man, I'm in a chauvinistic society, masochism is actually what is there now. Gender mainstreaming also means generational mainstreaming. That the youth does not contribute is nullity, because there's something your child, my child, can tell me that can help. So it's actually both gender and generational.
You know, it's not just enough to be talking about this, because I know when you talk about gender equity, I would like to ask you how many women that were given ticket by the political parties
Let
in
me
the last
ask you,
primaries.
how many men are directors or permanent secretaries in any civil service anywhere in Nigeria? That's the question to ask you. How many men are principals of school? You
Men don't go to school.
You see, how many men are in civil service?
That's what I wanted to say. When they do, most times they go for professional courses that they just go on their own. Then the women do the civil service.
Actually, how many men are directors? So, and these are the people who implement the governance.
Okay.
Yes.
You understand? So, the exclusivity doesn't help anybody. But the issue is, I want to drop this so that we get it. To change a society through youth is better. But you change a society in 3 major ways. Through the thinking and the philosophy. That is one. That is, the thinking is what you can get through education. But it's not only the formal education of writing exams. Education you have in society. You change the society through engagement, that is collective engagement.
Collective engagement.
Trying to get youth, because you don't expect youth to think as the sages or the adults. We have already had some much experience. But the youth come with energy, because you don't have enough vent.
Talking of energy, number 7 here says affordable and clean energy.
And then the third factor
before
is,
that, number 6 say clean water and sanitation.
These are basics.
They are basics, but I know that when we are growing up, it's young men, the youths, and they make people get in there. They clean,
of course. But when you don't make the youth understand that Ogidi or my hometown in Ihiala, or let's use it precisely, that the communal square belongs to all. That place, Geluchi, and I am whereby they meet, and we won't have a forum where we'll even invite the youth to talk. And the youth cannot come and visit the Igwe, who may be an old man. So he's in other content. But the youth who was told to go and clean it, because he has an orientation, he doesn't have orientation of yard, may feel that this is my flat. You know, the youth of this age were born in a flat. So they are living exclusively. But when they begin to know that the communal square is communal and it involves them, you are engaging them and they are engaging them.
Can I bring you in? Looking at this communal aspect, most of our discussions on youth development has focused on urban areas. Do you think at community levels, this informal arrangement forum for young people to express themselves are still in force? Do you think enough is being done by society at community level to involve the youth in leadership?
Yes. I would say it's been done, but more action or more equity has to be put in.
Okay.
In the sense that, in various towns, right, in my local government, Demle North, we have a body where we have, in my local government, we have a leader who is the chairman of all the youths in local government through NYCN, which by his grace of God, I happen to be the leader of my youth in my local government. So what I do, I bring the 10 leaders or different towns together. We will now sit and brainstorm and know the factors or the things that we need to do to develop each community. And thereby they bring in our ideas and whatever we discuss, we'll be able to carry that with the help of the government. They will be able to carry.
Okay, let's run. Number 7, say affordable and clean energy. And then number 8, decent works and economic growth. That's what we have at number 8, Chuka.
Decent work and economy. I only stopped at 2 points. I said there are 3.
We don't have time. We have less than 5 minutes to
That's
do.
exactly. The third point is cultural integration. You involving youth at the level of discussion is good, but that is actually establishment.
That's decent work and economic growth.
When you get what you need, youth is known for brawn, energy, force. You understand? The masquerading we do in communities is not is not fetish.
Okay.
It is about exercising the energy of the youth. Yeah. And a man who is very good as using the oja or playing the drum or does the ekwe or does the someone believes that he's doing it for the community because someone the community, and he believes he's being engaged. And he's known as Amalin the cat, the wrestler.
Because people appreciate him, and that's one thing that will help us. Yes. So
before he gets to the youth leadership.
Okay. Number 9 says industry, innovation, and what is
infrastructure?
Infrastructure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then, what do we do that? How do we do that? Let me come to you.
Okay. There, on that note, what we have is the companies coming together. If you watch, putting heads together will make it better. Because if everything is not left for the government to do, if we can be able to 1 or 2 companies to put heads together and bring us something, and they'll be able to project that will also assist the youth in all angles.
All right, thank you. Chuka, reducing inequality. Reducing inequality because we are going.
It's not reducing. Let me tell you, that's the concept number 9. That's industry. That's the concept of Akuluelno. The one you have. Bring it home and engage the people in the industry and infrastructure. Number 10 that you were talking about.
Yes, reducing equality.
Reducing equality, we have already addressed it. No need. When we talk about gender engagement, when we talk about generational engagement.
Okay, and then sustainable cities and communities. You have also talked about that.
It's about planning. It's about getting the community also to take ownership of their land, of their habitat, of their environment, and of their dreams. Okay.
And then 12, responsible consumption and production. You don't just consume like you are telling us the prices of
exactly. Even good. You see, all these things come from the mind.
Yes.
All these things come from the mind. Yeah. If the young man is growing, or if a child, a thought, is actually growing, and you begin to get him to know that if you are good in football, you play football for the local team. If you are good in singing, you join the local choir or the Momu singer.
Yes.
He begins to have a sense of having duty. If you're good in leadership, you take up a lead and responsibility.
How has the older generation been able to provide this leadership? There's a book I read, Mastery by Robert Greene. He talked about
Robert Greene.
Yes.
Yeah.
10,000 hours of mentorship. How has your generation been able to provide the leadership? Okay, climate action, we also have that. How has your generation been able to provide that leadership and mentorship to the younger people?
Simple question.
Life
you don't provide water, leadership.
That's number 14.
Mentorship, a mentee goes to a mentor.
Okay, let's roll it off and go, please. And then life on land is on number 15. And number 16 is peace and justice, strong institutions. That's where I would have loved us to talk about. Talking about strong institutions, the army, the police, the INEC, and all the rest of them. How strong are they to make sure that we move, we'll have a sustainable development goals as we go?
Strong institutions are built by the philosophy of the institution and the bureaucracy of that institution, and ability of that institution to be a going concern. And you can't be a going concern if you don't engage the youth, because that is the continuity. And you can also be a going concern if you don't succeed within the community, and the community helps you grow.
Okay.
So strong institution is realizing that you will do all these things, but you should also be an active citizen.
And parcel of a finance.
We are
living because partnership to achieve the goals. How do we partner the youth now to be able to achieve this goal? Not just the youth, everybody
is coming into getting the leaders together and giving them the idea or the points we have at stake, that they can be able to carry it out to the rest of the people and gather them, and this will be achieved, and you see results.
Okay.
And that's why we plead. We also we're looking at the state government. Also, if you watch the government of the day, 98% of people in government are the youth.
All right, thank you. Let's take it there because that's no more time for us. We'd like to thank you for coming this morning, gentlemen. Talking of Chuka, Sachuka Nabife, the MDCO National Light Newspapers. Thank you for joining us this morning. The Chuka at 16, the youngest CEO. The youngest CEO. Okay, and Chibuna Echewo, the President, National Union of Anambra Students. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank
No.
you.
Okay, and I've been around with Dave Obokwasame. Okay, but let me see Jama do somebody, please.